Hudson County View live and uncut. And I'm your host, or what you see is what you get, and what you don't is better yet, John R. Heinis. And of course, the latest and greatest at Hudson County News. Now, it's really just been a crazy week. Obviously, the primary was 7 days ago, and it's kind of just been like a fire drill every day since. But with that said, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about those two razor close races, very, very tightly contested in the 4th and 5th Hudson County Commissioner districts. We saw Hudson County Commissioner Chair Anthony Romano defeat Ron Batista by 219 votes or so, pending provisionals. And then in the 5th district, right next door, we had Commissioner Uriah Ponte-Lipsky defeat Bob DeSig by even closer margin, 146 votes. So we're going to talk a little bit about those races and also the other 17 positions that were on the ballot last week and what the implications are. Actually, I haven't had a chance to write up my winners and losers column, so I'm just going to give them to you verbally today on the air. So that's something for you guys to look forward to, hopefully. And of course, we're also going to talk about what's transpired since then. And for example, we had Governor Phil Murphy and U.S. Senator Bob Menendez in the Mile Square City. Of course, that's Hoboken. They're calling that Resilient City Park over in the northwest portion of the city. And, they did the ribbon cutting yesterday after many years of anticipation on this thing. So we're going to tell you what that means. And we also heard the governor's remarks about Donald Trump, of course, our former president. And that's a 37-count indictment related to classified documents. So we're going to talk a little bit about what he said. And then on a lighter note, we actually had a celebrity over in Jersey City, specifically at Cave and Point Field on Sunday. And that was Giants running back Saquon Barkley. He did a youth football camp, and he talked a little bit about his ongoing contract negotiations with the Giants. So we're going to tell you what he had to say about Big Blue and his future. And as you guys know, the Jersey City Council is meeting tomorrow, and they have, of course, a big agenda as always. But the item that many of you are watching is probably the right for council votes. So today, I'm joined with Hudson County Democratic Socialists of America co-chair Isaac Jimenez. So we're going to talk about that and hopefully a whole lot more right after that word from our sponsors.
Stevens Jersey City Ford Certified Parts and Service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live and uncut. I'm your host, John R. Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined with Hudson County Democratic Socialists of America co-chair Isaac Jimenez, someone who has worked hard on right to counsel in Jersey City. Isaac, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, John.
Very welcome. So there's a lot what's going on with these two ordinances, and many people are familiar with, but not with every nuance, but I think people know the broad picture. But let's start here. Something that we've heard leading up to this important and pivotal vote is that people are saying, well, I don't know anyone that's ever been evicted for a reason other than non-payment, so what good is this really? Because if you can't afford a lawyer, you can't afford to live somewhere. Something to that effect. So tell me your point of view there.
Yeah, so the point of view here is evictions are still happening. They're reaching a milestone in New York City, a soaring eviction rate, and we're right next door. As we've known from the past 2 decades, we've seen an explosion in development, and yet we've been building the most, but we haven't seen sort of that articulate into rents being stable. We've seen actually Jersey City become the most expensive city in the country by some standards that have also been questioned. I want to take a step back and talk about who are the folks that would be positively affected, benefit right to counsel. That's probably where we should take it, and then talk about who's going to pay for it, and that's an important part too. A lot of evictions go under the rug, soft evictions, notices to quit. There's a lot of reporting that isn't also happening in Hudson County, so it's hard to know where the bottom is. So I think the best way, and the campaign it's decided to make it really important to us that we focus on a universal right to counsel. So it benefits everyone, middle income earners, low income. As we've seen, we need enforcement of things like rent control from the top to the bottom. So I think there's a lot of political education and public education that can be happening after this is passed. We're excited that this is poised to pass, and that working class people in Jersey City are about to get another layer of protection, another right. They're going to win a right to counsel. So I think we do have to have more of these conversations once it's passed too.
Got it. Yeah, we'll definitely take you up on that. Now, would it be fair to say you believe that there's a lot of landlords, or at least a percentage of landlords in the city, that are engaging in what I'm going to call loophole exploitation to get tenants out and raise the rent? Is that where you're coming from, at least partially?
Absolutely. There's so many loopholes. There's so many things, mechanisms that landlords will maneuver, and that tenants just don't know about, don't know their entirety of their rights. It's also about just having someone able to vouch for you in court. And settle with a landlord's attorney, right? We know the statistic is 3% of tenants walk into housing court with a lawyer, when on average 80 to 90% of landlords do. It's about balancing the power dynamic there at that last ring of the ladder when it comes to being displaced from Jersey City, and that's eviction court, right? And yeah, I think there's a lot of justice still to be facilitated. And Hudson County, on the flag is Lady Justice, right? We should be upholding justice for all in Hudson County.
So could you give me an example where maybe someone you know, or an acquaintance, friend, coworker, whatever, was evicted for something that wasn't non-payment?
Yes, myself. I'm being evicted right now by my mom and pop landlord, which I had a long thread about on twitter.com. It is unfortunate because I have a good relationship with my landlord, but they live in the dwelling. See, when you're a tenant living in the same building as your landlord, you have very little rights. It's their personal property. So about expanding the layer of protection for tenants in Jersey City, we want to be able to also understand more of the housing crisis in Jersey City. So for me, I know myself. I know my situation. I didn't not pay my rent. I have a job. But they had an opportunity, and I think they seized it. The reasons were not the best. I don't anticipate on fighting them on it, except if I don't get my security back, maybe we'll have some issues. Yeah, I think there's a lot of this happening. A lot of people are just going. A lot of people are getting the notice to quit and going. Other loopholes, there's other phenomena happening, like constructive evictions, where the landlord isn't taking care of the property and it's becoming unsafe and uninhabitable. And then folks are just saying, well, I gotta go. This isn't a habitable home, like the folks on 96 Duncan, who I think 2 Christmases ago didn't have heat on Christmas.
I remember that, sure.
And Commissioner O'Day, an organizer in DSA, came together and they got the heat on. They got a new boiler.
Yeah, true, I remember, yep.
So I think that there's different areas at which right to counsel tries to bring into the light. And I'm excited that this is poised to pass again, and that we're winning it through working class organization. We're putting it to the council, but we're making it a real issue that we want to know where our council sits or stands on this position.
So as you're intimately familiar, and it's not a secret, the council came out last week, and the administration as well, and now you have Daniel Rivera out as a co-sponsor, which we knew, but now we also have Councilwoman at Large Amy DeGise coming out and saying we're going to vote yes, which will give you 5 yes votes. Did that surprise you at all?
Not really. We expected it to be late in the game when it counts. That's great. But we kept the pressure, right? Hundreds of tenants have been calling their elected officials, calling folks at the city, county level. People have been popularizing the policy at the statewide level. I think people are talking about the housing crisis, and we are organizing. We've been organizing since July of last year when we launched this campaign at City Hall to talk about how we're going to need to ready Hudson County and Jersey City for the housing crisis, right? I was a little surprised that ward council people in the West Side and Greenville and Journal Square haven't signed on yet. We've been canvassing a lot there. We think a lot of tenants, in especially those areas where they're seeing a lot of the new development that's spread out throughout the city, that they would want to feel protected too. We know that those constituents, those tenants do want that protection, so we hope everyone votes yes, now that there's an assumed majority of folks voting for the two ordinances.
Very good. Isaac, don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
This thing rips! Oh, it is so quick. There's a lot of punch packed into this Bronco Sport. It's got a ton of horsepower. I love it. All right, now we're getting hairy. Now we're getting the fun stuff. Yeah. I like how we can get over or around almost anything.
Yeah, I dig your ride. I super dig it. It's going to be a good day.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I'm still here with Hudson County Democratic Socialists of America co-chair Isaac Jimenez. So, Isaac, obviously we just talked about the council members that have committed to voting yes. Well, no one, to my knowledge, has explicitly said they're voting no. We do have 2 instances where that would be, not a surprise, I guess, let's say. So, as you know, about a month ago, the Ward 8 councilwoman Denise Ridley was on, and she said, as the proposal stands today, she would like to see some more relief for landlords. And when I said, well, what do you think of DSA's position that landlords are constantly getting benefits from this administration? She disagreed. Of course, I'm giving you the long story short, but what did you think of that position?
Yeah, I think it's trying to go around the fact that the folks that are being put to task through this legislation are developers, big corporate developers that have been taken care of in the city. All landlords are seeing now is a fair fight in housing court, right?
And by the way, just to correct the record, she was talking small-time landlords.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that. Small landlord. This is a quote that I read just this morning. Has been sort of the wedge thrown into other housing fights nearby, like in New York State. I believe in Albany they tried to pass big tenant protections as well as affordable housing building things. This concept of a small landlord is thrown around as a straw man pretty frequently in housing fights like this. We're seeing that, yeah, we're not budging on that position because overwhelmingly, like the fee that's going to fund both the construction of new affordable housing and right to counsel is coming from overwhelmingly big corporate developers, right? It's a small fee put on development that I think hasn't stopped anyone from doing anything. A 2% fee hasn't stopped anyone from doing anything they didn't want to do. And so I think it's about staying focused on who are the majority of tenants in the city that are in need of facilitation of justice, right? I would hope that council people look at and listen to their constituents that are tenants that need help right now.
All right. The other that I wanted to talk about with you is Ward C Councilman Rich Baggiato. At the last meeting, he said that, look, these fees for the 1 to 4 bedroom homes, these fees that are going to be imposed on these young families, it's definitely not something that's tenable to me. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. So, unless you guys take that out, I can't support it. Obviously, it hasn't been taken out. So it looks like that would be a no, but can't speak for him. But your thoughts on that side of the coin, if you will.
Yeah, I think, canvassing a lot in Journal Square, we see a lot of these 1 to 4 unit constructions. These raise rents in Ward C as well. These raise the rents, and then landlords in the nearby area can close the rent gap, right? Can make renovations and then raise the rent. In the meanwhile, evict tenants. So I think, again, this is about really looking at the whole equation, and a small amount of folks that are very vocal still, I think, don't weigh out in terms of what the majority of tenants need, and that's a right to counsel that's funded, right? We want to make sure that this office is funded both through these fees and to make it universal through political will to actually protect all tenants, regardless of income in Jersey City. So that way we can see the biggest bang for our buck. We can see the city eventually save millions, as folks have reported that right to counsel programs do. I think that we can do more of this discussion after it's passed in terms of public education, so that even council people can hear from constituents that maybe are marginal in these conversations. They don't have the loudest voice as, say, a developer or a landlord in a district, but through this campaign, folks have found the confidence in their voice to actually come into the political process and fight for their interest, right? And this is a city of 70% tenants, and overwhelmingly, I think we have the support of people. I think people are going to fight for this well after it's passed, too.
Got it. Now, when we're talking bigger picture, which you just mentioned, this Affordable Housing Trust Fund makes approximately $20 million a year, and they're thinking about 20%, which would be $4 million, would then fund the right to counsel office. So just any detail you want to provide there and why you think this is fair.
Yeah, I mean, in the law, in the statute, from this fee, 20% can be allocated to administrative costs, and that includes legal counsel, that includes right to counsel. I think it's very important that we build new affordable housing, public housing especially, but it's also important to avoid the crisis that we're seeing elsewhere, that we keep people in their homes. And for that price, I think it's worth making sure that Jersey City folks can stay in their homes, we can keep people housed. That's overwhelmingly the best way to solve the crisis when it comes to homelessness. Rather than building new shelter beds, we should be aiming to keep people in their homes. This is a statute that other municipalities in New Jersey have used to fund affordable housing. So we're glad that we found a creative way to also have it fund this new right.
So you pointed out, probably rightfully, that after this vote takes place, the fight's not done, the work's not done, because this isn't going to open more than likely till January 2026, which would also be coincidentally when a new administration's coming in. So, what's the work that you think really needs to be taken seriously between the assumed passage tomorrow and then, when the office is actually going to open?
Yeah, so there needs to be a lot of following the ball when it comes to rolling out the implementation. We're actually glad that we got the language changed so that way the office wouldn't have to just open January 2026. It has to be fully implemented by then. So hopefully we're working backwards closer to now because the housing crisis is with us here now. Yeah, I think that it's going to be important that we get tenants that are very focused on enforcing tenant rights on this tenant advisory board that the mayor has to now appoint. We're confident that we have a lot of people that have been vocal in this fight that would be great on that tenant advisory board. And then we also got to make sure that, the office is set up in a way that is very connected to the communities that want to know about their right to counsel. So we're glad that there's going to be educational and organizational parts of this as well. So I think, there's a lot to do. I think it's also, about the politics of who's going to want to be a champion for this office and who's not, right?
Isaac, thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow and going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, but we're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford Certified Parts and Service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, Light Rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John R. Heinis. So, as I mentioned at the top of the program, haven't written the winners or losers column yet. Just, like I said, been a fire drill ever since the results started to come in on Tuesday evening. So, let's do that right now. And hopefully, knock on wood, I'll be willing to write something up before the end of the day. So, first of all, winners. Let's talk Hudson County Democratic Organization. So, if my memory serves me correctly, they have swept now 3 elections in a row, 2017, 2020, and of course now 2023. And the last time they lost, which I guess is kind of ironic given what we just saw last Tuesday, is when Anthony Stick Romano ended up winning off the line, and that was in 2014 when he faced off with Phil Cohen. So, yeah, another election, another sweep, and the HCDO, as usual, is looking strong. And, you could attribute this to low turnout, you could attribute this to the line, as people call it, but whatever the case may be, they keep on winning. So, we have to give them their due for that. And then next, after that, let's talk about Craig Guy. Of course, he's the chief of staff to the outgoing Hudson County executive, Tom DeGees. Now, Craig raised over $1 million, and when you factor in the PACs, probably closer to 1.5. He personally spent about $780,000. Again, when you factor everything considered, we're probably talking about $1 million. So he treated this more like a congressional race than a Hudson County executive race when you look at the amount of campaign staff and the amount of fundraising and the amount of endorsements that came in. With that said, he won pretty decisively, 76-24, and almost won every ward across the board. Interestingly, one of the only places where he didn't win was Ward E, and that's where Councilman James Solomon endorsed his opponent, Elena Little. Nonetheless, a pretty strong win for Craig Guy, about 30,000 votes throughout the county. Again, it was a low turnout election, but don't get a much more definitive win from that in a countywide race. And then, we'd have to talk about State Senator and Union City Mayor Brian Stack. Now, obviously, this is somebody that is routinely getting out, 19, 20,000 votes, and he did that again in this primary. Despite having no competition whatsoever, he ran unopposed, as did his 2 running mates, and that was Julio Marenco of North Bergen and Gabriel Rodriguez of West New York. Of course, he was the mayor until recently. Well, Marenco was a North Bergen commissioner until recently. But whatever the case may be, it's not a secret that Senator Stack is one of the best get out the vote operations in the state. You saw that I reported he was over in Roselle, and that looks like it paid big dividends as the incumbent won by a very small margin. So his operation continues to be one of the most effective in New Jersey. And at the end of the day, you also have to give some credit, and I'm not going to say if it's actually, let me go here. You have to give credit to Romano again, because even though it was close, he won, and Uriah Ponte-Lipsky, razor thin, but a win is a win, so you got to give it to them that them and their teams got it done, even if it wasn't pretty. So that's who I put on my winner list. Now, as far as losers go, obviously, the Progressive Democrats didn't have a great night at the office. They ran 7 candidates, 9 if you count Michael Griffin for State Senate and Chanel Smith for Assembly, and they didn't win any seats. There were 19 seats on the ballot, as we've talked about in a lot of detail. And, they, first of all, weren't able to run that many candidates. They ran less than half of what was on the ballot, and they were only close to the 2 races that we talked about quite extensively. So that's how I see that. Though, you got to give credit to Solomon to some degree. I don't think you could put him in the winner's circle for this, but you do have to acknowledge the fact that he was able to have Batista and Singh and Little do really well in his ward. So clearly this is someone that, has downtown on lock. we're still not really clear what he's capable of outside of that. But I wouldn't say it was a terrible day for him. Certainly wasn't fantastic either. But, certainly remains someone to keep your eye on for 2025. Now, also in the loser circle, I would have to put, I'm going to go ahead and say Frank Gilmore. And the reason I'm going to say that is twofold. Number one, as I said, Michael Griffin lost that Senate race pretty decisively. It was 3-1 against Assemblywoman Angela McKnight. And you just didn't see much of a groundswell there in the Greenville area. There just wasn't much of an appetite for change as far as I could tell. And, at the end of the day, it just wasn't a close race. But, that's only one ward out of several in a district-wide race. And the 31st Legislative District, of course, is a large one. But you also have to remember that he backed somewhere in the neighborhood of 36, maybe upwards of 40 county committee, Democratic county committee candidates, and only 4 of them ended up getting across the finish line. So obviously, that's not a particularly strong showing. That's losing at least 90% of the seats. So, certainly this is a time that might be a good one for him to recalibrate and reflect. Obviously, things did not go the way that you would hope. Now, when you're also assessing these contested races, I would also have to say that you need somebody who lost here is Hudson County voters. Again, now what do I mean by that? Well, we have nearly 400,000 registered voters in Hudson County. I believe it's 398,000 and change, and only 11.55% came out to vote. Now, guys, I've talked about this probably dozens of times, but not in much detail. Bottom line is we got to start from scratch here. The Board of Elections has to purge the voter records. We have to start seeing the HCDO do voter drives. We have to start seeing progressive Democrats like James Solomon doing voter drives. We have to get people interested. We have to get people engaged. And frankly, I think it's time to start from scratch. We could do better, and we should do better as well. And so let's try to work on that. Everybody across the board. And the other thing is, I think you would have to say a big, all right, actually, I'm told we got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. So also, I think in the loser column, you have to put the Hudson County Clerk's Office and the Hudson County Board of Elections. I mean, as we talked about in detail, this is something where the early voting and the VBM results came up at about 8:01, 8:05, within moments of the polls closing. So certainly you have to give them credit for that. But Then we did get an update till about 9:40, and then on Wednesday the updates were also quite slow. And look, there were some things that happened, like the cartridges weren't properly stored, they weren't properly removed, they were stuck in the machines. And yes, these are things that do happen quite often in every county at every election, but this should be at this prevalent level. So we need to work on that. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know, and I will commend them for making sure that there's only going to be one voter system going forward as opposed to two. And it's good that they will have remote reading cards going forward. Hopefully that solves the problem. But, what we saw on Tuesday night definitely could have been better. And hopefully in November with these changes, it will be better. And then just some general thoughts about the election. Legislative races were really not interesting this year. I mean, you rarely see any challengers in the primary. But out of the 3 state Senate seats, as I talked about, only 1 received a challenger. And out of the 6 assembly seats, there was only 1 challenger. And again, those were both on the 31st legislative district. The closest thing we saw to a challenge anywhere else was in the 32nd legislative district. We saw 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher come out and say that you should do a write-in vote against John Allen, who was running for state assembly on the line. And you got about 200 or so votes that did that. But of course, at a state assembly race in Hudson County, unopposed, obviously 200 is not going to make a difference. So whether you thought this was highly entertaining or extremely annoying, it didn't do anything to change the result, obviously. And that was it. I mean, the other races, there wasn't even a write-in campaign. So pretty boring on that end. And, it's just interesting how hard it is to find candidates for legislative races. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go on summer break. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be able to talk to you from this studio. Before we go, I know I mentioned a bunch of things at the top of the program, really only have time for one more, so we're going to show you Governor Phil Murphy talking about the 37-count indictment of former President Donald Trump. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful summer.
Takes your breath away. I say as a former U.S. ambassador, I don't know who else has to sign this, but I know everybody in the State Department, you have to sign before you go to post that you admit that if you allow classified documents knowingly to get in outside of a classified space that you're subject to conviction or felony. You actually sign that you acknowledge that. So this is, he's got lots of legal issues, but this is apparently, based on the 37 charges, this is potentially putting our national security interests at risk. So it takes my breath away. It's not even, in addition to being a bad thing, it's unfathomable what somebody would do it.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.